High ticket sales is an absolute scam. Well, maybe that's a bit of an aggressive title, but the whole reason I'm making this video is to help people trying to get into this industry kind of navigate the pros and the cons about it to see if it's even for you in the first place. Because I've seen multiple people get into this industry and it's not exactly what they expect. If you just got into it, or you're looking to get into it, or you're just doing research on what business model to get into, this video is going to be for you. High ticket sales 100% changed my life, so I'm being hypocritical, but the whole point of me saying that is that this is not for everybody, and there's a bunch of negative things about this industry that you guys should be aware of to know how to navigate away from when getting into this industry. So I wish I saw this video before I got into it. If you guys are new to it or just got into it, take a pen and paper out and just be careful of these certain things of this industry. Because this is like my first year in high ticket sales, it's made me a disgusting amount of money and completely changed my life. I feel the urge to help people getting into high ticket sales to avoid these things, or at least be aware of some of these pieces of the industry. So in high ticket sales, you're becoming a sales rep for an online influencer or online business owner, basically selling a high ticket product, whether that's a mentorship, a course, an in-person mastermind. You are becoming a sales rep for that person to get a commission off of everything you sell for them. What that basically means is that you could work for anybody, meaning good players, bad players, scammers, and you have to be aware of the people that you're working for. Okay, so step number one is there are a lot of bad players in this space and you have to be aware of them before you start working for them. There's been multiple times where I've seen people sell for certain influencers. The influencers don't do the fulfillment on the back end, and then you look like a scammer because you're selling products that aren't actually legit. You have to make sure that whoever you get hired for, whatever company, whatever influencer, is reputable, they have student results, and they actually care about the fulfillment. Because if they don't, first of all, it's not going to last long. Second of all, you're going to look like an idiot for selling someone into something that doesn't work. And third of all, it's going to help you sleep better at night knowing that whatever product you're selling actually works and helps people. The reason that there's so many bad players in the space is because right when someone blows up on social media, what's the first thing that they do? They try to sell some sort of mentorship or product or mastermind. A lot of these people that are trying to sell stuff online that are hiring sales reps might not be the best business owners. They might not know about business that well. They might be on the younger side. So just make sure to do research when doing, outreach to try to get on an offer as a high ticket sales rep, to make sure that the person you're working for is reputable, not only for your sake, but also so that you can be with them long term. If you're on an offer for 2-3 months and then the influencer ends up getting canceled online, you no longer have a job. So it's going to be tough for you as well. The second negative that I've seen in this industry, which kind of goes with the first thing, is that a lot of the business owners that are going to hire high ticket sales reps are super unprofessional. A lot of issues with these new business owners that are hiring sales reps because they don't know anything about sales. They don't know how business operates. So it's super unprofessional in the way it works. So I tell everybody when they first are getting on interviews, make sure that they are not only getting interviewed, but they're doing an interview as well to the people. So you're not just helping them, they're also helping you get paid. Obviously, you're doing this for a job. You're doing this to pay your rent, to pay for food. This is bigger than just working for an influencer. So you have to make sure that when you're getting on an interview about to get a job position as a high ticket sales rep, you're asking questions like, how many sales reps do you currently have? What are they currently making per month? How long have you guys been running this program for? Where are the case studies? Do you guys have student testimonials? Make sure that you get all that information so you know if this is going to be a long-term thing or it's just like a quick cash grab. Sales reps are the bloodline of majority of businesses. If the sales reps don't perform, nobody gets paid. If the sales reps don't perform, the business fails. You have to know your value in the business, especially if you're an experienced sales rep. You have to know your value, so you have to do interviews to the people as well to make sure that whatever offer you're getting on is going to take care of you and is going to work long-term. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen my buddies get on offers as high ticket sales reps and then something happens with the ads and the leads stop coming in, or maybe the influencer didn't want to post a YouTube video that week. There was no more leads and they don't care at all because they made enough money to relax. But you as a sales rep getting commission, you're screwed. You have no leads to call. You're not making any money and it's completely out of your control. So you have to understand that as a sales rep, it's super variable, okay? There's a million different things that can happen. That's why it all leads back to making sure you're doing research to get on the right offer. All right, another big downside of high ticket sales. A lot of these also I'm realizing as I'm saying them is a downside and an upside depending on what type of personality you have. So this could go either way, but there's no paid time off. There's no guarantees. There's no base pay. It is solely commission based. So for me personally, I love that aspect of it. I would way rather work for my money and actually work on performance rather than just get paid every month, because then I'd just be lazy because I know I'm getting paid. I'd way rather work on commission, work more hours, get paid more for my actual performance. But this could be super scary to some people. I know a lot of people that would never work on just a performance basis because they know that if they don't feel that good that month, or maybe they get sick one month, they're not going to make as much money as they would otherwise. So high ticket sales industry, for the most part, is pretty much you eat what you kill. So basically you wake up every morning, you have calls on your calendar that are inbound, and every single time you close a deal, you get paid commission on it. So it leaves you a higher ceiling to make a lot more money. But let's just say you're not feeling it this day, or maybe you want to go out with your friends one day to the beach, you're not going to make as much money as you would. Okay, so for me, this is actually a pro, but it can be a lot of cons for people. I've heard people, they want to get into this industry, then they find out that there's no base pay, and they're like, all right, I'm not doing that. Like that's a little bit too risky for me. So yeah, it 100% can be risky, but if you are confident in your skill set and you feel like you're going to be good at sales, you're well spoken, then that's kind of a pro for you, depending on, you know, your personality type. I don't think you're gonna find a more competitive industry than this. Okay, sales in general is just such a competitive industry because whoever sells the most gets the most respect, gets the most money, gets moved ups, gets promotions, gets higher commission. So it's solely based on how competitive you are, how many hours you can put in. I know a lot of people that are not built for this industry, so like I said, that's why I'm making this video, to help you navigate. If you are a competitive person, you know you're going to crush it, then this industry is for you. If you feel like, you know, you'd rather just relax and get a base pay and just kind of take the weekends off, this might not be for you, and that's 100% okay. I'd rather you guys know that and not even go down the rabbit hole than try it and find out later. Very competitive industry. So another thing that I think is my personal biggest downside is the income cap, okay? So they say that sales isn't trade your time for money, but at the end of the day, you can only take so many calls in one day. So from what I've seen, and myself personally, the real income cap is about $30,000 to $40,000 per month as a sales rep. And I know that sounds like a lot of money if you haven't been in sales, but just like with anything, when you hit your first 10K month, you want to hit a 20. When you hit your first 20, you want to hit a 30. It just keeps going up. So once you like cap out at about 30, 35,000 bucks a month for a few months in a row, the only thing you're thinking about is how can I get to 50? How can I get to 60? So that's a super annoying aspect. But on the other side of it is, now that you've seen how a business works in and out as a sales rep and you have that experience of sales, you can either start your own business, you can start managing sales teams, you can do other stuff to leverage what you've already learned. You just might not be able to make, you know, 40, 50, 60K a month as a sales rep. There are certain case scenarios where you can, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty hard to get to that point unless you pivot and either start a business or do something different. But realistically, if you have no sales experience, you shouldn't even try to start a business. You should always start as a sales rep before you just jump into starting a business. Sales is never going to steer you wrong. You're always going to have some sort of backup plan, because if you do start a business and fail, you can just go back to being a sales rep for a different offer. So it's kind of a win-win either way, but that's one thing that really threw me off was the income cap, because once I was income capped every single day, I was closing at about 60%, making a lot of money per month. The only thing I was thinking of is how can I get to 50, 60, 70K a month? And then you have to start thinking about pivoting to either starting a business or doing something a little bit different. I'm going to kind of sound like a baby saying this, but it is really, really easy to get burnt out in this industry, especially with sales, especially working from home as well. If you guys look at my older vlogs, I would literally sit in the same spot for about 8 to 10 hours a day printing commissions. I was making 20 to 30K a month, but still, after a long period of time, it gets super, super easy to get burnt out. And there's ways to fix this, but as far as like being a sales rep, if you get burnt out and you're making the business owner a ton of money, you can't really be like, oh, I want to take this Saturday off, I want to take this Sunday off and just kind of, relax. For me personally, that wasn't happening. There's really no room, especially if there's money being made and, the offer is doing really well. There's no days off. Like, you got to grind, you got to print, which the money is there to compensate for it. But it's like, if you're really starting to get burnt off, if you're 3 months in working 8 to 10 hours a day, it starts to get rough. I'm sure this is how it is in any job. Like, I've worked at restaurants where it was absolutely taxing. You had to work like 12 hours a day. But for this, it does get rough. For me personally, I used to work at way worse jobs, so I was fine just like really sticking it out and just making the money I was making and just knowing eventually I would get a little bit of time off. But when the offer is doing really well, it's go, 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 go. You really just can't stop. The biggest thing about burnout is you don't want to let your performance get low, because a lot of people, they'll start to get burnt out. They'll do less follow-ups. They won't really try on the calls. They won't objection handle as much. And that's when you just get fired and then you're out of a job. So you want to have like a good balance. You want to make sure that you're still hitting the gym. You can find an hour every single day to block off your calendar for lunch and stuff like that. And just starting to have like a good work-life balance for the most part. Not completely. I know that term is out of it, but just have a few hours a day where you actually are like committing to yourself and like the gym or whatever else. Yeah, but overall sales 100% changed my life, like I said, so I can't really talk that bad on it. I just wanted to share some of my experiences in it. Something that I've learned from kind of transitioning from being a full-time closer to closing for my agency and doing a lot of agency work is that being a closer almost after a certain period of time makes you content with kind of taking other people's orders. A lot of people want to get into sales for not only the money, but also to have some more freedom and to kind of like start to introduce their journey to business. But if you're just sitting there and getting inbound leads to your calendar all day, that's not really teaching you to be a good business owner. It's not really like, it's almost just like a glorified job. You're just like getting handed leads over and over. You just have to be good at sales and you'll get paid every week on a paycheck. So I just would say that being in high ticket sales is a great vehicle to have financial freedom, work from your laptop, do whatever you really want, make a disgusting amount of money for someone with no degree that used to work at a restaurant. I would just say don't get content, okay? I've seen a lot of people start to make their first 8 to 10K a month and they just kind of, relax. They just do whatever, but you always have to be striving for something more. Think about business ideas when you're being a sales rep. Think about, what the business owner can do better to make better content or like email marketing. Just think about other stuff to bring in more money for the company while you're being a sales rep, because that's just going to get you in like that business mode that I assume the whole reason you want to get into this is to eventually start your own business, because nobody wants to be stuck in front of sales calls all day. But I just recommend that you don't get content with just sitting on calls all day. The money's going to be there. It's going to be really easy to get content, but just make sure that you're always moving forward and always moving towards something that's going to be there in 5 to 10 years. Because you never know with these offer owners what's going to still be there in 5 to 10 years. I mean, realistically, a lot of these Instagram people aren't going to be there in the next coming years. So just make sure that you're always trying to think and build something for yourself and use the skill sets that you've learned in high ticket sales to build something bigger than just being a sales rep. Getting into high ticket sales, hopefully this helps you navigate it a little bit more. If you guys have any questions about it, drop it down in the comments. I'm more than happy to respond to any of that. Also, join my free Discord down below if you guys have any, questions about high ticket sales or anything like that. You can join my free Discord down below in the description. I'm pretty much active in there all day long if you guys have questions about this industry or anything like that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in a few days.